For an hour straight, my fiancée and her ex-boyfriend laughed at me. My job, my hobbies, my appearance, everything was a punchline. She sat there, the woman wearing my grandmother's ring, and laughed along with every insult. 2 days later, I handed him an invoice for that ring, canceled our entire wedding, and walked away with 70% of our deposits back in my account. When she came crawling back 3 months later, I told her, "Ask your ex for a joke. I'm sure he'll find this hilarious." But let me take you back to where this disaster started, because the warning signs were there long before that night. My name is Jason, and I thought I'd found my forever person. I've been with Sarah for 3 years, engaged for 6 months. We had a wedding planned for the following spring, venue booked, deposits down, the whole 9 yards. Sarah was fun, outgoing, popular. I'm more reserved, software engineer, into gaming and hiking, not exactly the life of the party, but we balanced each other, or so I thought. Everything changed when her ex-boyfriend Chad moved back to town. Sarah and Chad had dated for 2 years in college. She told me it ended mutually, no hard feelings, ancient history. I believed her, because I had no reason not to. One evening, about 3 weeks before the incident, Sarah brought it up casually over dinner. "So, Chad reached out to me today. He's back in town and wanted to grab coffee and catch up." I felt my stomach tighten. "Okay, what did you tell him?" "I told him I'm engaged now, obviously, but I said we could all meet up sometime, as friends." Red flag number 1, the "we could all meet up" that was clearly her idea, not his. "I don't know, Sarah. I'm not really comfortable with you meeting up with an ex one-on-one." Her face changed immediately. "Jason, seriously? You're gonna be that guy? The insecure, controlling boyfriend who won't let his fiancée have friends?" "It's not about control. It's about boundaries. He's not just a friend. He's someone you had a romantic history with. That was years ago. God, I thought you trusted me." The guilt trip worked. I backed down. "Fine, if it means that much to you, we can all meet up together." She smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. "Perfect, I'll set something up." Over the next week, Sarah brought it up several times, how excited Chad was to meet me, how this would be a great opportunity to prove I wasn't the jealous type, how mature it was that we could all be friends. Each time, my gut screamed at me to say no, but I ignored it. Finally, she set a date. Friday night, 7 p.m. at Roster's bar downtown. Casual drinks, just the 3 of us. "This is going to be great," Sarah said, kissing my cheek. "You'll love Chad. Everyone does." That should have been red flag number 2. Friday arrived. I dressed nicely but casual, jeans, button-up shirt. Sarah spent 2 hours getting ready. Full makeup, her tightest jeans, the top that showed just enough. "Isn't that a bit much for drinks with an old friend?" I asked. She rolled her eyes. "I'm allowed to look good, Jason. Don't start." We drove separately because Sarah had a work thing earlier. Red flag number 3, but I was already in too deep to back out. I arrived at Roster's 5 minutes early. Sarah texted, "Running late. Order me a vodka soda. Heart." I ordered her drink and nursed a beer watching the door. She walked in 15 minutes later with Chad. They were laughing about something, walking close together. Too close. Chad was exactly what I expected. 6'2", athletic build, expensive haircut, confident smile. The kind of guy who'd been popular his whole life and knew it. "Jason," Sarah said brightly, sliding into the booth next to me. Chad sat across from us. "Chad, this is my fiancé, Jason." "Hey, man," Chad said, extending his hand. His grip was unnecessarily firm. "Sarah's told me so much about you." The way he said Sarah felt familiar, intimate. "Good to meet you," I lied. For the first 10 minutes it was civil, surface-level conversation about the town, what Chad had been up to, how Sarah and I met, normal stuff. Then the tone shifted.
"So, Jason, Sarah tells me you're in IT?" Chad asked, that smile never leaving his face. "Software engineering, yeah." Right. So like you fix computers and stuff?" Sarah giggled. "Babe, explain what you actually do. Chad's in pharmaceutical sales, so he doesn't really get the tech world." I explained my job. Chad nodded along with this condescending smirk. "That's cool, man. I mean, someone's got to do that stuff, right? I could never sit in front of a screen all day. I need to be out there, meeting people, closing deals. He flexed slightly. Gotta stay active, you know? Sarah laughed. Chad runs marathons. He's done like 10 of them. That's great, I said flatly. You run, Jason? Chad asked, knowing the answer. Not really my thing. Yeah, Sarah mentioned you're more of a, what was it, babe? A gamer? Babe. He called my fiancée Babe. Sarah's face flushed. I mean, Jason plays video games sometimes. It's his way of relaxing. Hey, no judgment, Chad said, hands up. Everyone needs a hobby. I just prefer hobbies that, involve leaving the house. He laughed. Sarah laughed with him. For the next 45 minutes, it continued. Every topic became an opportunity for Chad to mock me and for Sarah to encourage it. My car? Dude, you're still driving a Civic? Sarah, didn't you used to have that BMW when we were together? My clothes? Is that from Kohl's? Actually, don't answer, I can tell. My hobbies? Hiking, gaming, reading? Man, you're like the most indoorsy outdoor person I've ever met. Every single time. Sarah laughed. When I tried to defend myself or change the subject, Sarah would touch my arm and say, Babe, he's just joking. Don't be so sensitive. But her eyes were on Chad when she said it, looking for his approval. Around the 40-minute mark, I excused myself to the bathroom. I needed air, needed space, needed to figure out why I was letting this happen. I stood at the sink, splashing water on my face, when I realized I'd left my phone on the table. Screen unlocked, voice recorder accidentally activated from when I'd been trying to pull up a photo earlier. I walked back to the booth and heard them before I saw them. Chad's voice. I forgot how fun you are. Corporate Sarah, so boring compared to college Sarah. Sarah laughing. Oh my God, remember that time we snuck into the dean's office? How could I forget? Best night of my life. A pause. You sure you're ready for the whole married thing? You seem way too young to be tied down. My blood went cold. I stayed frozen around the corner. Sarah's voice got quieter. I don't know. I mean, Jason's safe, he's stable, reliable, good on paper. But is he fun? Does he make you feel alive? A long pause. Not like you did. They heard movement. Were they leaning closer? You know I'm only in town for another month, right? New territory, new opportunities. But we could reconnect, for old time's sake. Chad, I'm engaged. To a guy who plays video games and drives a Civic. Come on, Sarah, you're settling. Another pause. Then Sarah, let me think about it. I'd heard enough. I walked back to the table like nothing had happened, smiled, sat down, finished my beer. Everything okay? Sarah asked, her voice syrupy sweet now that I'd returned. Perfect. Actually, I should be going. Early morning tomorrow. I pulled out my wallet and dropped enough cash to cover all 3 drinks. This one's on me. Chad, great meeting you. His smirk was victorious. Likewise, man, we should do this again. I don't think that'll be necessary. I looked directly at Sarah. I've seen everything I need to see. Sarah looked confused but said nothing. I walked out of that bar with perfect composure, got in my Civic, drove home, and then I got to work. That night, I didn't sleep. I made lists. The wedding was 7 months away. We'd put down deposits on venue, $5,000, caterer, $3,000, photographer, $2,500, florist, $1,200, DJ, $800. Total deposits, $12,500. Most in my name were paid from my account because I had better credit. I started making calls first thing Saturday morning. The venue was the biggest concern, but their contract had a clause. Cancellations more than 6 months out received 70% refund. I called them. I need to cancel my wedding. The coordinator was sympathetic. I'm so sorry. Let me process that for you. $3,500 back. The caterer had a similar policy. 60% back if canceled with 6 months' notice. $1,800. I went down the list. By noon, I'd recovered $8,750. Not everything, but enough. I transferred it all to a new savings account Sarah didn't know about. Next, the apartment. We'd been living together for a year. both names on the lease, but it ended in 2 months and I'd already been planning not to renew because we were supposed to move after the wedding. I called the landlord, explained the situation, asked if I could be removed from the lease early given the circumstances. "Son, you just saved yourself a lot of heartache. I'll draw up the paperwork." I started packing my stuff, slowly, quietly, things Sarah wouldn't notice missing immediately.
Sunday afternoon, Sarah came home from brunch with her friends. She was in a good mood. "Hey babe, I missed you yesterday. Where'd you disappear to?" I was sitting at the kitchen table with a folder in front of me. "We need to talk," I said calmly. She froze. "Okay, what's up?" "Sit down." She sat, trying to read my expression. "Jason, you're scaring me." I slid the folder across to her. "Open it." Inside was printouts of all the cancellation confirmations, a copy of the lease removal paperwork, a screenshot of the bank account showing the refunds, and a transcript of her conversation with Chad that I'd pulled from my phone's recording. Her face went white as she read. What? What is this?" "It's me proving I'm not the jealous type," I said. "You were right. I'm not jealous. I'm just done." "Jason, wait!" "I heard everything, Sarah. You thinking about reconnecting with Chad, you calling me safe and boring, you saying I'm someone you're settling for." Tears started streaming down her face. "I didn't mean it like that. I was just—" "You let him mock me for an hour. You laughed when he insulted my job, my car, my hobbies. You called him babe in front of me. That was an accident." "Nothing about Friday was an accident. You dressed up for him. You arrived with him. You wanted me to see you two together." She was sobbing now. "Please, Jason, we can work through this." I stood up. "The wedding is canceled. All the vendors have been notified. I've recovered most of the deposits. You'll get your portion of what you contributed, which, according to my records, is about $1,500. I'll write you a check." "You canceled our wedding?" "There is no wedding, Sarah. There is no us. I'm moving out. I've already been removed from the lease. You can stay here until it expires in 2 months or leave earlier. I don't care." "Where will you go?" "I got a short-term rental across town. I'll be out by tomorrow." She grabbed my arm. "Jason, please. I love you. I made a mistake. Chad doesn't mean anything to me." "Then why did you tell him you'd think about it?" She had no answer. I pulled my arm away. "You wanted to keep your options open. You wanted Chad as a backup in case you got bored with safe, reliable Jason. Well, now you have your freedom. Go be with Chad. See how that works out for you." "He's leaving in a month." "Not my problem." I walked to our bedroom, my former bedroom, and grabbed the last of my bags. "Oh, and Sarah?" I stopped at the door. "My grandmother's ring. I'm gonna need that back." She looked down at her hand like she'd forgotten it was there. Slowly, crying, she slid it off and placed it in my palm. I left without looking back. The next 3 months were a blur of healing. I focused on work, hit the gym hard, reconnected with friends I'd neglected during the relationship. I took the wedding refund money and booked a solo trip to Japan. 2 weeks of hiking, temples, incredible food, and complete peace. Sarah tried to reach out multiple times, first with apologies, then with anger, then with bargaining. The texts progressed predictably. Week 1, "I'm so sorry, please talk to me." Week 3, "You're being cruel, I deserve another chance." Week 6, "I saw you posted pictures from Japan, glad my misery could fund your vacation." Week 10, "Chad left, you were right about him, can we talk?" I ignored every single one. Then, 3 months after I'd left Sarah, I got a final message. "I made the biggest mistake of my life. You were the best thing that ever happened to me. Please, Jason, I'll do anything." I stared at that message for a long time. Part of me wanted to respond with anger. Part of me wanted to gloat. Instead, I wrote, Go ask Chad for a joke. I'm sure he'll find this hilarious. Then I blocked her number. 6 months after leaving Sarah, I'm doing better than I ever did with her. I'm dating someone new, a woman who thinks my job is fascinating, who games with me on weekends, who never makes me feel like I'm not enough. Sarah, from what I hear through mutual friends, is struggling. Chad did leave after a month, exactly as predicted. He'd never intended to actually date her. She was just convenient while he was in town. She lost several friends who had been there for the wedding planning. Her family was disappointed. She had to move back with her parents when the lease expired because she couldn't afford the apartment alone. Do I feel bad for her? Sometimes. Then I remember her laughing while Chad called me a loser. Remember her telling him I was someone she was settling for. Remember her considering cheating just to feel alive. And then I don't feel bad anymore. If you're in a relationship where your partner doesn't defend you, doesn't respect you, or makes you feel small, leave. I don't care how long you've been together or how much you've invested. Leave. Because the right person will never let someone mock you. The right person will never make you feel like you're not enough. The right person will choose you over their ex every single time. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button for more stories. And remember, respect is non-negotiable. See you next time.